Shalom. Giving all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth. Shalom to the brothers who pushing this gospel in truth and in sincerity to the four corners of the earth. Shalom. I want to speak on this dream I had, not last night, but the night before. All right. Concerning this town I went into, and it's all-out war, right? That's soon about to happen, right before our eyes, our very eyes. And let me turn the camera around because I want to just get a look at this scenery. It's a beautiful day outside. All right, hold on a second. All right. Hopefully y'all could have seen my face better. I'll turn it back around eventually. But yeah, the dream I had was basically me and my constituents, me and a couple guys who I grew up with, was talking about going to Chicago to see, to go to this place, I believe, to, I'm not sure if we talking about going to get something to eat or just chilling on the lake shore. He said East Shore in the dream, but I know it's a place in Chicago called Lake Shore because that's where I'm from. That's where I grew up at. Currently living in Maryland. And so we traveling, and we come across this home, old looking house in the middle of nowhere, right? Which was kind of odd. It almost gave that old Western scene. Hopefully y'all heard that rooster over there. So almost like a farm over there. Some cows and roosters and things like that. But we came across this old home, and it looked like an old, like, Wild West scene. Old looking home in the middle of nowhere. And we stopped there to get food and drink. And there was an elderly man there, good spirit, happy. And I found it odd that he was his house was like a store on the inside, all right, in the middle of nowhere, all right. So we leave there, and we came across this city, a town, old looking town, like an old Western town, right? It was kind of modern looking, but it was old looking at the same time, with houses and like an old Western scene. And instantly, the ground started to move. You know, like concrete, like here on the video, and it was metal, and it started to move. And the town also looked like it was undergoing construction. But the way the ground and everything started to move was like it was constructing something, right? And when it started to move, me and one of my friends I was with, we yelled out, "It's a smart city," right? Which is crazy, because I thought about it when I woke up, like, we both yelled at the same time, "It's a smart city," right? So it was like beams, and it was like rips in the ground, and we was just sitting there standing still on the beam so we wouldn't fall into the ground, so we wouldn't fall inside the ground, right? And then it went totally to a whole nother scene where we out with a good number of people, like a group of people, kind of like a refugee camp, you can call you can call it like a resistance, right? And it was mainly mostly black people, so-called black people. I say so-called because we're not black, we're brown. So it was mainly brown people trying to get into the habit of saying brown more. All right. Now, standing in that crowd of people, we suddenly dispersed. And once we dispersed, a group of people was chasing everybody. And this group of people was Esau Edom, the so-called white man. And next scene, it jumped into, because you know dreams are like scenes, right? And it jumped to the next scene, and now I'm in a field. Also, the scene that we was in was like a farm looking scene, right? And the next scene it jumped to after we started getting after we dispersed was me being like in a cornfield, because I told you it was like a farm, right? A crazy looking farm we was on, and I'm hiding in the cornfield from Esau Edom, and next thing you know, a few Edomites started coming towards me, and I ran. Now, when I started to run, I started to see, because while I was in the cornfield, I heard screaming, yelling, you know, guns going off, right? So when I started to run, I actually started seeing what was happening around me. I started to see Esau, Edom, killing our people, right? And I hear women screaming, children screaming, men screaming, and even Esau screaming, and they women screaming. So now, while I'm running, and the scenery took place in at night. At night it took place. So while I'm running, I see it's getting crazier and crazier. I see bullets flying across my face. And you know how bullets look when they're shot at night. It was those machine bullets back in the day that, you know, those old Western movies and those Civil War movies had, when you roll the gun forward and they shoot out like a machine gun. It was those type of bullets. And they was just flying across, you know how it'd be on a movie, like across the screen, and it was like fire, you know, like shooting fire, you know, out of these guns. And the more I ran, the more crazy it started looking. So now it's looking like fire. Certain places on fire, houses on fire, the ground on fire. All right, and you see like bombs hitting the ground like grenades. All right, and I'm running and running, and I'm looking around. I'm seeing people getting shot. Mostly our people. All right, and then I woke up, and that was the end of the dream. All right. Now, we know, dealing with the farms, this guy, Bill Gates, bought a lot of farmland, all right, in China. So it didn't dawn on me that until I woke up that the house I went to had a store, because there wasn't no food around. Right? He was selling the little food that he did have to the people. And when I woke up, I seen a video that the elder, our apostle, beloved apostle Taha, put up about smart cities. And it kind of blew my mind. I was like, wow, it's crazy. And I just had that dream yesterday about it. So that's when he put out the video yesterday, because I had the dream the night before, not last night. And so concerning smart cities, because I only knew about smart cities from Apostle Taha, a little bit of what he talked about on it. I didn't know much, so I did my own research on it, and I came across this video that these two Edomites did on smart cities. All right, and they went into a good amount of information concerning smart cities, dealing with the World Economic Forum too, as well. So I'm gonna play that clip, the video on smart cities, and hopefully this is edifying, because in those smart cities, I believe in order to buy and sell anything, you're gonna have to get that rice grain, the charagma, all right? Or you're just gonna be starving, and homeless, most likely. So it's very important to understand what's coming, because it's definitely happening right before our eyes. It's coming soon. So hopefully this edifying, Lord willing. Until next time, shalom.
U.S. By far, that's more than any other foreign buyer. But it's just the Chinese, communist government that's doing it. What could possibly go wrong? By the way, an update. I said this last night. Ron DeSantis is the only guy that would do this. He needs to ban China from buying farmland. And guess what he did yesterday? Yeah. He's banning China from buying farmland. Where are you, Texas? Where are you? Okay, so you're seeing that our farmland is being put into the hands of either our enemies, like Bill Gates, or the Chinese. So what are you going to do? Bill Gates, 300 million acres.
1,000, isn't it? 300,000 acres? You said 300 million.
300 million. Is it 300,000? Let me look at it.
300,000 acres, I think it is.
300,000? Mm-hmm. Okay. Whew,
it's a lot of acres.
Better. Still, yes,
yeah,
it's a lot of acres. But much better than 300 million. Okay, 300,000 acres. So he's got all this farmland. You know where he's going. He is fully with the World Economic Forum, okay? So the World Economic Forum, what do they want to do? Well, they want to control the land. They want to control the food. They want to control the energy. They want to control the money. Well, if you do all of those things, you control you. Now, I'm going to take you to something, to the World Economic Forum, their own website. They have a section on smart cities. This is a really smart city. Like, Chicago, very smart. So the smart cities are the way to get all of our problems under control, because their plan is to force everybody into cities and leave the land alone. Remember, they have to, by 2030, and Biden's already done this, He's going to preserve 30% of all land in America. No humans will be on it. By 2050, it's 50% of all land. So where do the people go? The people all have to go into cities, but they'll be smart cities. Now, I want you to go to the World Economic Forum's website, and I want you to look this up for yourself because you will not believe what I'm about to tell you. But it's there currently in black and white. So you decide who's the conspiracy theorist and who is actually lying to you. Now, you're going to love this. You're going to love this. You go to the World Economic Forum, you look up their smart cities, and you're going to see what is planned for you. Now, they have all kinds of partners all over the world. One of them is the Arab Group, ARUP, the Arab Group. They have their own section on the WEF website, okay? They're a progressive group that got together in Britain right after World War II, and they were like, hey, we can do a lot of things. You know, these Fabian socialists, they got a lot of great ideas. Why don't we start building things and building a community of tomorrow? So very progressive-minded, and they want to be a source and a force for peace and social betterment, which I look for in a construction company, don't you? I mean, I'm like, yeah, but how? I mean, how is it with earthquakes and stuff? Social betterment. Did we say social betterment? Okay, good.
Same reason I go to NASA.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, well, you go to NASA to learn about the Muslim community.
And how much they know about math.
Right. Okay, so from the World Economic Forum, let's put page 40 up. There it is. Now, I love this. Now, this is a whole section on, look, we've got some pretty big goals to hit, and we got to hit them. So how do we build these smart cities, and what do we need people to do by 2030? Now, they have some pretty aggressive goals, and some of them are up there. And they look, I mean, if you're watching Blaze TV, you'll see them up from the website itself. But let me give it to you just in case you're not watching, because, gosh darn it, these stats are a little sticky. So food. They need to reduce the emissions of food by 2030. So their target by 2030 is you will only have 16 kilograms of meat per year. Now, their aggressive target for 2030 is that you have 0 kilograms of meat. I'm telling you, what they're doing to the farmers and the ranchers, what the 4 big food processors are doing, they're driving them out of business so you can't have any local ranchers growing meat because they're getting rid of meat. Listen to Klaus Schwab, who says by 2030, meat will be for the rich and very wealthy for special occasions only. You with that? Again, on their own website, 16 kilograms, that's all you can have of meat. Right now, the dairy consumption, milk or derivative equivalent, so cheeses and everything else, they're hoping that you will only have 90 kilograms of that, but their aggressive, ambitious target for 2030 is 0. Now remember, they need you to live like we lived in the pandemic, except without the nice stuff that you might have had, like cheese and milk and meat in the pandemic. You'll be required to only have 2,500 calories a day. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't think I could live on 2,500 calories a day. I really don't like the fact, maybe it's because I've studied so much about the Holocaust and when governments and institutions start regulating calories, makes me think of the Holocaust a little bit, but maybe that's just me. Now, when it comes to clothing clothing is a problem. Okay, we have too many clothes and I've watched television. I don't think we have enough clothes, quite frankly. Lizzo comes to mind. So their progressive target for 2030 is that people will only be allowed to have 8 new clothing items per person per year. But they really are shooting for 3. So, comrade, you could have a new shirt, a new pair of pants, and maybe some socks. Merry Christmas. We'll begin to go, oh, they got socks for Christmas. Thank you. No big deal there. On private transportation, their goal is, now, I don't even know the number. They don't include this in here. How many vehicles per 1,000 people? What do you think per 1,000 people? How many vehicles do we currently have, do you think? 500?
Yeah, some of them are kids.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you're thinking it's got to be at least 500.
At least 500. They want to reduce that by 2030 to 190 cars per 1,000 people. And their ambitious target is 0 cars per 1,000 people. Oh, by the way, and your 20-year car, the car that should last you about 20 years, they want it to last now 50 years. So we'll all be...